Okay. So in part one, I think you guys are aware of little bit of the the syllabus, the topics which is there in the part one. But still, here I'm going to explain you what all topics are included in the part one, and I have set a schedule. Like I'll try to complete your whole part one till 5th of September. So if you are planning to appear in the month of October or maybe in the December, you can easily appear for at least part one exams. Okay, so let me first explain you the exam patterns. There will be 100 questions. It will be divided into 50 questions each. Okay, so first half will contain 50 questions and second half will contain the 50 questions in the exam. Those all questions will be weighting either 2 marks or maybe 1 marks. The marks weightage will not be provided in the exam. You will have to guess, like, okay, so if it's a calculation related sum, it will be of 2 marks. And if it's a one liner sum, it will be of 1 marks. That's why there are 100 questions, but the total marks of the total paper is 130 marks. Out of that, you are gonna score 105 at least to clear your exams. Okay, and during the exams only, after submitting the your paper, you will get the result on the spot on the screen, whether you have cleared it or whether you have not cleared it. Okay, there is no negative marking or anything, but our focus is to score 105 marks. So we are going to target these lectures, the whole topics weightage wise. The weightage is fixed for all the topics. There are at least 5 of the topics. The first one is preliminary work with the taxpayer data. From that, it is fixed that 17 questions will be asked from this. Income and assets topic is there, from which 21 questions are there. Deductions and credits, 21 questions again are there. Taxation and advice, 14 questions are there. And then there is a specialized returns, in which we have this estate return, gift tax return, descendant return. Apart from 1040 return, these 3 forms are important in the part one. Okay, so this will have 12 questions. Like this, we are going to proceed weightage wise. So what materials we are going to use, I'll explain you that thing. Actually, when we were studying, we used a lot of different materials to refer the best topics from each of the material. So I'll tell you, we are going to provide you the class notes. Okay, which let's say we are going to start with this citizen and dependence. Okay, so whatever in class we are studying, the whole PDF format notes will be given to you. Next, we are going to provide you the Glenn material. Okay, so after completing the lecture, you can refer the Glenn material and class note during the whole day, revise the whole topic. Let's say today we have completed citizen and dependence. Just go through that topic during the whole day. Okay, at the initial stage, we are keeping our lectures Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. Later on, we'll increase it to whole week. Okay, so currently, and since it is a starting stage, you guys need a little bit time to revise all the topics. Once you get the proper idea about the whole syllabus and you have the grip to learn, we are going to keep it a 5 days a week, all the lectures, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Okay, so I have kind of prepared a schedule. Like today, we are going to start with the citizen and dependent, and then later on, we'll complete tomorrow with the filing status and other topics of the first chapter. So at least your 17 marks are booked in the first 2 days. I'm going to provide you one login for solving the MCQs and everything. Mock papers, MCQs, you can solve over there. Almost 3,000 MCQs are there on that website. So once you complete the whole chapter, don't solve it for a single chapter, for single topic. Okay, once you complete the whole chapter, okay, you have the whole week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you have 4 days. So just revise the whole topic again on Thursday, Again, on Friday, you can revise it. And on Saturdays and Sundays, solve each and every MCQ from that website, from that topic. Okay, because solving the MCQ along with the chapters is important in our course. You cannot go through just the lectures and then at the end, after completion of whole course, you start with the MCQ. That is not the thing you have to do. Okay, guys. So everyone is having a PTIN, right? To appear in the exam, you will have to take the PTIN. Anyone is there who has not yet applied for PT?
Yes,
No, ma'am,
Sylvia.
I have not applied.
Okay.
I am
So,
also.
okay. So today, after the lecture, just I'll just call you. I think Dia and Sandeep is there, right?
Yes,
I,
ma'am.
So,
I am
okay. So,
also.
okay. So I'll call you after the lecture. I'll tell you the procedure and everything, what you need to do to take the
Oh,
PT, because you know for appearing exam, you will have to take a PT. And it take almost 15 to 20 days to get your PT from IRS. So I'll tell you the procedure. After that, you can apply on the Prometric Center for the exams. But
okay, ma'am.
while you're studying, just apply for the PT. I'll tell you the procedure after the lecture.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, madam. Okay.
So let's start with the first topic. See what I'm going to do. Once we go through the first topic, we are going to have this class notes. Okay, so what I have done, I have taken the best best topics from the best materials, from the different materials, plus I have used the IRS publications, so we don't miss out on anything while you appear in exam. There is no fixed syllabus. IRS has just provided these topics. Now this is a very very huge scope. Like the taxation is not just this 4 topics. There are a lot of things into it, lot of publications used into it. Like for even for the definition of small wages and earnings and the employees, for just the definition, they have used different publications. Okay, so what we have done, we have taken the best things from IRS sites, from a GLEM material, from fast forward material, maybe from surgeon material, all the best and important topics we have taken, and we have jotted down in our class notes. Okay, once we refer to the class note, at the end of the session, I am going to refer with this GLEM book. Okay, and there I will note down which topic you need to go through during the whole day. Let's say we completed the citizen or maybe filing status, so I'll tell you just go through 1.2 topic over here during let's say 2 days. You can complete it between the 2 days, 17 and 18 July, for example. Okay, so this is how our lectures studies procedure will go on. I am not here to just deliver the lectures. I am here to deliver the quality lectures. Okay, so you guys can come up with any queries, question to me anytime on the WhatsApp. I'm available anytime. I might reply a bit late, but yeah, you will get your answers, queries, whatever you're having. You can just put it on the group that okay, this topic you are reading and you are facing this query or doubt. Okay, so before moving forward, are you guys having any question or doubt, or you want to ask anything regarding the class or sessions or anything? Okay, so let's start with the first topic we have over here is citizen and dependents. So see, individual topics, the part 1 is all about your 1040 return. Okay, tomorrow we will see the overview. I'll share the 1040 form in the class. I'll walk you through the line by line items of the form and what is important in our exam. From that, I'll tell you that thing as well. So in 1040 return, we have to make sure first thing is preliminary assessment. The word which is used is preliminary assessment. So when you start preparing the return, you have to do the preliminary walkthrough of that particular client. Means you have to check whether that particular client is liable to file the tax return in US or not. Second thing you need to check is the previous year data, right? Compare the previous year data with whatever documents, source documents you have received in the current year. Okay, so this all things is the preliminary assessment. We are just checking, that whether we have everything on hand to start with the return or not. So this is what preliminary assessment, preliminary work which we need to do. Now let's understand who are liable to file the 1040 return. Okay, US citizens who will be liable to file a return. Now here the definition of US citizen is very important, guys, because if you don't understand the definition of US citizen, you will not be able to know that whether that guy is liable to file the tax return or not, right? So here federal income tax rule applies to all US citizens regardless where they live, right? If you are a US citizen, you are living in India or maybe in Australia or maybe in any XYZ country. If you are a US citizen and you are earning income, then you will have to file a US tax return. And if you are an individual, okay, individual, then you are going to file a 1040 return. All right. So let's see who can be called as US citizen. First, those individuals who are born in US, individuals whose parent is a US citizen. Okay. So who are born in US, whose parent is a US citizen, former alien who has been naturalized as a US citizen. Okay, so what happens? Those who are a non-resident alien, right? But later on, due to some green card test and substantial presence test, they can be considered as a US citizen. We will see the definition of both of them. Okay, so here you need to check the two test. Okay, I'm just writing it like here, two test. This definition we'll see from the GLEM material. Next is individual who is born in this particular states, Puerto Rico, Guam, or US Virgin Islands. Okay, even if they are born in these three different islands or states, they will be called as US possessions. Now, US possessions will also be considered as a US citizen, even if you are born in these three states. And all the rules which we are going to understand in the first part, right? All the deductions, credits, everything will be applicable to them as well. Even though they are not living in US, in the proper US country, if they are living in this three islands or states, they will be eligible for all the credits, deductions, and everything. Okay. Now, for the tax purpose, the US national, see, US citizen is different, US national is different. US national is someone who were born in US possession of America. Somana or Northern Marina Island, who are not US citizen. So US possession are this, right? These three states. So these people will be called as US nationals, not US citizens. Okay. And there are also special rules that apply, which we are not going to cover in the part one, because it is not the part of your part one syllabus. There are a little bit different rules apart from what we are going to learn in the 1040. Apart from there, some are additional rules which are there for the US nationals. Okay, so who can be the US citizen? There are three things which you need to keep in mind. US citizen is someone who is born in US. The parent of that individual is a US citizen. And the third is if a former alien who is now being naturalized as a US citizen, where you are going to check the two tests, which is substantial presence test and the green card test. Okay, so that we'll see later on. First thing is, once you have identified you are a US citizen, your client, your taxpayer is a US citizen, second step is to see that whether that person is claiming any dependent or not. Now in US taxation, what do you mean by dependents? Dependent means someone, either it can be your qualifying child or a qualifying relative. Okay, So see, dependence topic is very, very important in the part one. In each chapter, you will face this word, right? And dependence is someone for which you can claim this credits, reductions and credits you can claim. There can be some adjustments to income. There can be some income exclusion. So in each of the topic, there will be somewhere dependent definition included. And the most important part is in each topic, the definition of dependent is different. Definition of dependent is different in each of the topic. So I want you guys, if you're sitting with a book and paper along with you, whenever I say go to the last page of the book and prepare this bifurcation, at that time just note down the topic, and later on after the class you can just prepare the criteria. Let's say test for claiming the dependent. So this is the one test, like just for claiming the dependent on your tax return. On your page one, there is a one column or one box where you need to enter the name, SSN number, and the birth date of your dependent. Okay, I'll come to the definition. Don't worry about it. I'll come to the definition for the dependent. So first, dependent is a different person in case of when you are claiming it on the 1040 page 1. Dependent definition will change if you're claiming a filing status head of household, a different filing status. Dependent definition will change if you are claiming a child tax credit. Dependent definition will again change if you are claiming a education credit. Okay, so there are different definitions. So right now, if you are having a book or pen, just on the last page, write the first definition which you need to list down as definition of dependent for 1040 return. Okay, this is a general definition, I can say. So as per the IRS law, general definition of dependent will based on 3 tests. Okay, if you want to claim a person as a dependent, that person must meet all of the 3 following tests. Okay, all of the 3. See, in the examination while studying, these words will be most important. It can be all, either, or, and. See, this all words are very important. These are very small words, but while studying, these are important to understand the law. And this is not like a CPA exam. In CPA exam, what happens? You have a 4 weightage. Some questions will be based on law application. Some will be based on the calculations, right? Some will be based on the application of the law based on the material they used to provide. Here, whole exam is based on application of law. There is no calculation, will be very minimal. There is no calculation kind of thing. You have to just understand the law. How you are going to understand is once you remember all these things, these small things, right, while studying. If you don't remember, like whether all the condition needs to satisfied or any of one condition needs to satisfied, right, then you will get confused while solving the sums. Okay, so let's see, to claim a dependent. So this is on, if you have a book, just write it on the last page. The first bifurcation for the dependent you will do is for 1040 general return. Okay, basic return 10 on the 1040 page 1. To claim a dependent on your 1040 page 1, what is the bifurcation you will do? That depends on 3 criteria. First one is the dependent taxpayer test. Okay, means the taxpayer cannot qualify as the dependent of other person. Let's say Mr. A is claiming his son on his tax return. Okay, now Mr. B's brother, Mr. A's brother, is also claiming the son as a dependent. So if a person, right, is a dependent on Mr. A's return, Mr. A's brother cannot claim the son as a dependent. Means you can be a dependent in any one of the tax return, not of two taxpayers. Okay, so first one is dependent taxpayer test. Second one is joint return test. So this son, right, whom you are claiming the dependent, should file not file a tax return with other individual. Okay, so to understand this, those who are not aware about the filing status, I'll just quickly give an overview. In 1040 return, you have a different filing status. One is single, one is MFJ, means if you are a married person, you are going to file a joint return. You have the option to file a joint return. Third is MFS. If you are a married, you can file a separate return. Okay, it's an option. Either you can go for MFJ, either you can go for MFS. If you are a single, you can go for a single filing status. Then there is a HOH, means head of household. We'll come to this definition when we do the filing status, but just for a basic overview, I'm giving the names of filing status: single, MFJ, MFS, head of household, qualifying surviving spouse. Okay, these are the 5 filing status which will be used on the 1040 return. So if the son is there, like if we are claiming son as a dependent, he cannot file the tax return with other individual, means he cannot file a MFJ return with his wife. Okay, so see, the taxpayer cannot claim as a dependent, cannot be claimed as a dependent, cannot claim as a dependent a married person who files a joint return, unless the married person files the return only as a claim for refund. See, so there is one exception into this point. There is one exception over here. First one is dependent taxpayer test. Second one is the person should not file a MFJ. But one exception is only to claim the refunds he is filing the return. He is not showing his incomes or expenses or deductions, credits, anything in his joint return, but he is just filing it to claim the refund. Only claiming the refund is allowed. Got it, guys? Any question in the second topic? Those who are attending the batch for the first time, for them I'm saying, if you have any queries, just ask on the spot. Okay, don't wait till end of the lecture and then you will ask.
मैम
Okay.
एक बार फिर से रिपीट करो ना जॉइंट रिटन टेस्ट वाला.
Yeah, sure. See, joint written test, what happens? Right now, what we are seeing is the person whom you are going to claim a dependent. Let's say, Diya, I'm going to claim you as a dependent on my return. Okay. Now, if you are filing MFJ with your husband, okay, so that is not allowed. So if you're filing with him, I can't claim you as a dependent. But exception is that you can file with him only to claim the refunds. Now, what do you mean by refunds? Let's say you are earning a wage income, okay, or maybe any other income. On that, there is a income tax withholding. Just like in India, we have TDS. Over there, we have some withholdings. Like whenever the employer is paying you the amount, they are going to withhold some amount. That is a withholding taxes. Okay, we'll come to that definition later on. If those taxes are withheld, but you are not having a taxable income, you need to take a refund.
Yes.
So for taking the refund, you need to file the tax.
I can
return.
file. Yes.
Yes. So you're filing just to take a refund with your husband. So at that time, I can claim you as a dependent.
तो डिपेंडेंट का कोई क्राइटेरिया, एज क्राइटेरिया होगा ना कि इतने
Yes, we will.
कोई भी आपको डिपेंडेंट क्लेम. अच्छा होगा.
No, we have two options. See, either it should be a qualifying child or it should be a qualifying relative. We'll see the criteria over here in the next topic. Okay. So this is just the basic overview. Like isko hum dependent claim कर सकते, like whom we can claim a dependent and who are not eligible to claim as a dependent. Okay. So the third one is citizen or resident test. So the person whom you're claiming a dependent must be a citizen or a resident alien or a US national. You know what is US national? All those who are US possessions are US nationals, okay? Or a resident of Canada or Mexico for some part of the year. So apart from these three states, this three country, right? The person, if he or she is a resident of Canada or Mexico, for them also you can claim as a dependent. So let me just jot it down like this. For claiming a dependent, first thing is that person should not be a dependent of other person, of other taxpayer, okay? Second is that person should not file a MFJ, right? And these are all condition, okay? It's not like that only one condition is met, you can claim them as a dependent. All conditions should be met together. Third one is that person has to meet the citizenship test. Citizenship means what? That person can either be a US citizen, either that person can be a US resident or a US national. Now in US national, we have already seen the definition. US national consists of that person is living or maybe born in this three state, individual born in this three state, okay? And Virgin Islands. And then the fourth one exception is if the person is part or full year resident in Canada or Mexico. Okay, so for this person, you can consider for taking them or claiming them as a dependent on your tax return. See why I'm going very slow. This definition is a bit tricky. Like right now, you will see that it's very easy. Yeah, we remember it. Everything is okay. But later on, when you solve the sum, there are very tricks and twists used in the questions when you solve it. That's why remember each and every criteria in detail. These are the three criteria. See, whatever I'm preparing these notes now after class, just prepare it on your own. Looking at this this PDF, I will share this in the group. Okay. In general, the taxpayer cannot claim a person as a dependent unless they provide more than half of the total annual support. Now, what do you mean by this word? Total annual support. Let's say I'm claiming Dia as a dependent on my tax return. I am providing her all the expenses, her living expense, like the food, clothing, medical, educational, all the expenses I am incurring for her. Okay, so let's say for her annual expenses are $10,000. Okay, so at least I should pay for her 50% of the support. Now here, this definition of support is different. Okay, we'll see that definition, what all things are included in the support. All the medical bills will be included, the clothing expenses, education expenses, food which she is consuming in the house, right? So all those expenses, let's say her annual expenses are 10,000. So at least I should be incurring 50% of her expense. At least I should be paying her $5,000 minimum. I'm saying, okay, I can pay whole 10,000. That's fine. I can pay 6,000. That's fine. But it should be more than 5,000. That is more than 50%. Okay, means what are the criteria? This three has to meet. Plus, the one more test is support test, I can say. Okay, support test means more than 50% should be met by the individual, the taxpayer. Now, let's say along with that, I'm claiming Dia as a dependent. She is also earning, okay? She is earning, let's say $8,000. And she is using that whole $8,000 for her own support. And the remaining 2,000, I am paying her. So can I say that more than 50% is not fulfilled? She's paying her own expenses. So I cannot claim her as a dependent on my tax return. Okay, that is what support test means. Support test means the person who is claiming the dependent, right? The person who wants to claim other individual as a dependent should incur at least 50% of the expense for that person. Okay. Now there will be two definition. One will be qualifying child and qualifying relative. Now, before we move forward, do you guys have any question in this four tests? These are very simple tests which we need to check before claiming any XYZ person as a dependent. The age criteria and everything we'll see in the two topics, qualifying child and the other one will be qualifying relative. We'll see over there. Okay. Any question in this, guys? Okay. So let's move to the next one. That is either the, see, now first you have figured out that you are going to claim a person as a dependent. Now that dependent has to bifurcate it either as a qualifying child or a qualifying relative. Okay, because in the later chapters we'll see there are different credits, different deductions for qualifying child and qualifying relative, and this too will again have few separate tests. Okay, so let's see what do you mean by a qualifying child. This four tests you have to meet. Okay, along with that you will have to meet this four tests must be met. Okay, this four tests, this are also all tests must be met. Okay, relationship test, age test is there, residency test, and the support test. Okay, these are the four tests you should met to make that dependent as a qualifying child. Okay, now remember on the last page when you note down that 1040, you will write the whole test for claiming the dependent. Also you will write the definition of qualifying child and qualifying relative in the book. Okay, and this is just for claiming the child as a dependent on your 1040 first page. Okay, when I'll show you the 1040 form, you will get an idea what I'm talking about. But right now just understand the definition of dependent, qualifying child, and qualifying relative. Okay, so let's see whom you can claim as a qualifying child if the child meets the relationship test. Okay, what do you mean by relationship test? That person has to be your own child. Okay, child must be son, must be your daughter, can be your stepchild, can be your foster child, brother, sister, half brother, half sister, step brother, step sister, or a descendant of any of them. Now, what do you mean by descendant and ascendant? We'll see this word a lot of time in our studies. Descendant means grandchild. Okay, this is the example of descendant. Ascendant means your grandfather. Okay, so the generation above your father and grandfather and above that are your ancestors, right? So they are called your ascendants. Descendants means those who are after your generation, means your child, grandchild, right? All those will be considered as your descendants. So this is the words terminology which you'll have to keep in mind while studying. So always remember there has to be a relation. Your brother can be called as your qualifying child. Okay, we are right now learning the definition of qualifying child. Now, what about any other dependent? Let's say my friend, I want to claim my friend's son as a dependent on my tax return. My friend is living in some other country, but I'm looking after his or her son, right? Can I claim him as a qualifying child, the friend's son? Yes, I can claim, but it cannot be called as a qualifying child. It will go into definition of qualifying relative. Qualifying child is having a very limited definition, that is it has to be your son. Child must be a son, must be a daughter, stepchild, foster child. Okay, step brother, step sister, brother, sister, half brother, half sister. Okay, or a descendant of any of them, or the child of them, like son, the grandchild will work, the granddaughter will work, brothers children will also work, because here it is mentioned descendant of any of them. So this all we can claim, and their children's also we can claim as a qualifying child. So first is the relationship test which you need to meet. Second is important, that is age test. Age test means what? The person whom you're claiming as a dependent on your tax return should be younger than you. If I'm claiming someone the dependent, to make them as a qualifying child, that person should be younger. But let's say if I want to claim my grandmother as a dependent on my tax return, she will not be called as a qualifying child, but she will fall under the definition of qualifying relative. Okay, we'll look at that criteria later on. First, understand this. To claim any person as a qualifying child, that child has to be younger than the taxpayer or spouse if you're filing a joint return, and must meet one of the following criteria. Now here the or option is there. Either the child has to be less than 19 years of age. See, younger than 19 years of age, it is there. So here, just understand the terminology. If the child is 19 years of age, no, this criteria is not fulfilled. If the child is less than 19, means if a child is 18 years of age, then this criteria is fulfilled. Okay, it is not 19 or less is not mentioned. Only less than 19 is mentioned. Younger than 19 is mentioned. Even if the child is 19, we will not see the first step. We'll move to the next step. If the child is of more than 19 years of age, what you're going to do is you will check whether that child is up to the 24 years of age or not, and that person is a full-time student. Got it? Let's say I want to claim Mr. A as a dependent on my tax return. Mr. A is of 18 years of age. I can claim him as a dependent easily, but rest of the previous criteria has to met. Okay, all these 4 criteria should be met. Then I'll check the relationship test. Then I'll check the age test. Okay, if let's say Mr. A is of 20 years, can I claim him as a qualifying child? Answer is yes, if he is also a full-time student. Full-time students means he's studying in any of the universities or colleges over there in the US. Okay. Second is, here also it is 24 years, younger than 24 years. If a person is 24 years, can I claim him as a qualifying child? No. It has to be less than 24 years, means it has to be 23 years, up to 23 years only. Okay, so this is the age criteria which you're going to fulfill to claim that particular person as a dependent, as a qualifying child. Okay, now there is one exception. Let's say if a person, the child is a permanently disabled, okay, totally disabled, then you can claim him as a qualifying child. There is no age criteria in that. Only one thing you need to remember: if the person is disabled, that here the age criteria is not applicable. Age criteria does not applicable, and the person does not need to be younger than the taxpayer. Means even if I want to claim my grandmother as a qualifying child, and if she's disabled, she's permanently disabled, I can claim her as a qualifying child. Okay, there is a very minute difference between this. Just remember this thing: if a person is permanently disabled, no age criteria will apply. If the person is not disabled, like if a person is healthy and nice, age criteria will be applicable. There are 2 age criteria. One will be your 19 years age, and second will be 24 years, and it has to be less than. The equal to sign is not there over here. Okay, and if it's a 24 years of less than 24 years of age, there has to be a full-time enrollment in any of the university as a student. Full-time means what? During the whole 12 months that person has to study. It's not like part-time student. There are some part-time courses as well, right? So you have to be a full-time. In question, they will twist this thing they will twist most of the questions on this topic. Instead of full time, they will provide you a part time student. At that time, you will get confused. Okay, this person is less than 24. If this person is of 21 years of age and he is a student, no, student will work, but it has to be a full time student. Okay, so this is a age test which we have done. The third one is residency test. Now this residency is
मैम
yeah, tell me.
मैम तो आपने जो बोला वो थर्ड पॉइंट जो आपने आपका हेलो मेरी आवाज आ
हाँ,
रही है
yes,
जो
yes,
आपने
yes,
आपका
बोलो बोलो.
मॉम का एग्जाम्पल दिया ना फॉर 24 years वाला तो वो रिलेशनशिप टेस्ट को तो क्वालिफाई नहीं करेगा ना
हाँ, वो नहीं
क्योंकि
करेगा,
उसमें तो
लेकिन
आपसे छोड़ हाँ तो और
यस, सो और
उसमें तो
हाँ,
एंड वाला है ना तो लाइक ये भी करना है वो
हाँ,
बताना
yes, correct. But लेकिन let's say a son is there and a daughter or stepchild is there, or maybe brother is there. Let's take example of brother. Your brother is bigger than you. तो वहां पे आप ये क्राइटेरिया फुलफिल कर सकते हो.
हाँ
If your brother is bigger, like let's say the taxpayer is of 20 years of age, but the brother is 25 and the brother is permanently disabled. You are providing him all this support. He's living in your house, right? All this support test should also be fulfilled. Okay, so in that case, relationship test will get fulfilled. And then in age test, you don't have to check the criteria that the dependent should be younger than you. Then you can claim it. Okay. So remember, yeah, this was a good observation. You have to check all the tests all together, not only single test. I was just giving that as an example of the grandmother, but here the best example is of brother or sister or any of the descendant cannot be cannot be, I can say, aged more than you. But just an example, if anyone who is permanently disabled and if is following the relationship test, then you can claim him as a dependent. Qualifying child. Okay, we are running the definition of qualifying child. Okay, any other question, guys, from your side? Sandeep, you're understanding all the topics which we are going through right now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Understand.
Okay. In case if you have any questions, just ask at that time. We are okay. I'm okay to answer any question n number of times. I'm fine with that. But you should understand the concept, why we are doing this, how we are doing this, and how we are going to apply it. These are the three things you need to keep in mind. So next is residency test. This residency doesn't mean that the child should be US resident. This residency test means the child should be living with the taxpayer under the same roof in the same home. Okay, for how many number of days? For more than half of the year. Okay, so for more than half of the year, the dependent, I can say the qualifying child should be living with the taxpayer. This is what we call as residency test. Okay, a child who is born or dies during the same year. Okay, so even if that child was not living with the taxpayer for more than half year, this is an exception. If a child who is born or died in the same year can still be qualified as a qualifying child. So this is an exception. If the home was child's home the entire time the child was alive. Okay. Next is the child is considered to live with the taxpayer when at a hospital. Okay, following birth. Since the day of birth, that child will be considered as living with the taxpayer, or during the temporary absence. It might happen that the child has been admitted to some university or some good program, the educational program, right, to some other state. It happens like if a taxpayer and the spouse are living in California, and if this child has been taking some educational courses from other state, okay, let's say Texas. So for that particular time, for let's say it's a 6-month course, the 6 month will be counted as that person is living with the taxpayer. Okay, so this is an exception. So in residency test, we had 2 exceptions. If a person dies in the same year, we'll consider as he had lived for the whole year with the taxpayer. Second exception is a temporary absence. Temporary absence can be in special circumstances, right? Such as it can be education, it can be illness, or due to some business, vacation, or military service. These are the 5 exceptions. Like due to these 5 reasons, you can consider that taxpayer has, taxpayer is living with the dependent the whole year. The dependent can either go for temporary absence due to his illness. For his treatment, he might be living in the hospital maybe for 1 month, 2 months, right? For education purpose, for any business related trips. If a person, if a taxpayer's child is doing any business, so due to some business related travels, if he's out of town, out of state, that time period will also be counted while counting this half years of this residency test. Okay, if born alive but living for a moment, not stillborn, official documentation must prove live birth. Means this is an example. Some children are born but they are kept in the hospital for some certain period of time, for making them I can say used to the normal environment or atmosphere, which right now they might not be due to their illness or something like that. So just keep in mind since the day when the child is born, from that day that child will be considered as living with the taxpayer under the same roof. Okay, if the child is not living with the taxpayer and if it's not any of this reason, okay, if it's not due to illness, education, business, vacation, or military service, that child will not fulfill the residence test, and you are not going to claim that person as a qualifying child, but you can claim that as a qualifying relative. See, this one gate is closed. Now you can move to the next one. That is, you can easily claim that person as a qualifying relative, but there are still 3 more tests, 4 more tests over here. We'll look later on to that. First, understand just the definition of qualifying child. First was relationship. Second was residency test. Sorry, age test was there. And then third was residency test. Okay. So let's move to the last test, that is support test. This we have already done. You have to provide at least 50% of support for your dependent. Now, what the fourth one is saying the child himself cannot provide more than half of their own support. Let's say the child is earning from some services or some acting professional, right? Over there, the children are also actors in many of the movies or some series or something like that. And if they are earning on their own, and if they are providing their own support, they are expensing their own education related expense they are incurring on their own, their medical expense, from their own expense they are doing it, from their own earning they are doing it, then you cannot claim that person as a qualifying child, but you can move to the next step, that is qualifying relative. Okay, any question in this 4th step, guys? Okay, so let's see one example. Your unmarried son lived with you all the year and was 18 years old at the end of the year. Okay, so you have an unmarried son. So now you know he is not filing a MFJ return. So the first thing was not filing a MFJ. He is not a dependent of any other taxpayer. Is he a citizen? Yes, it is deemed to be a citizen. If it is not mentioned in the question, just deem that person is citizen. Now he didn't provide more than half of his own support. So does this means you are providing the all the support for him, right? All the expenses. What do you mean by support? All the expenses you are incurring for him. Just after this example, we'll see the definition of support. Okay, then it will be clear. So your unmarried son is living with you all the years. So can I say the fourth test, the third test, residency test is fulfilled? Residency test is fulfilled. Here the age test is fulfilled. See, here it is 18 years of age. So it is less than 19. And he didn't provide more than half of his own support. So here the support test is fulfilled and doesn't meet the test doesn't meet the test to be a qualifying child of anyone else. So can I say he is not a dependent of anyone else and he is a child, your own son? So the first test, that
First is also
relation.
fulfilled.
Yeah. So this way, in this way you have to check all the criteria: relationship test, age test, residency test, and support test. All are fulfilled, so he can be called as your qualifying child. Now let me give you one example. If your unmarried son, again taking the same example, is of 23 years of age, plus he is a full-time student, right? And he is not providing his own support. Okay, means he's not expensing, like he's not incurring any expense for himself. He is just a student, he's not earning anything. All his expenses are provided by the taxpayer. He's living with the taxpayer during whole year. So can I say this child can also be called as a qualifying child?
Yes.
Okay. This type of very easy questions will come from the first topic, that is the citizen and dependent. And you can see over here from this all three topics, 17 questions are asked. So I can say the 17 questions are your cash marks, guys. Okay, just remember all the criteria which we have done. Okay, and just after the lecture, make sure to note down all these criteria in your book. Okay, so right now it's just one topic. Later on, when we move to the some complex topics, the credit related topics, deductions and all that, it will be a bit difficult to remember, because we are going to learn in this sequence only. We are going to learn in the stepwise manner. So please note down each and every steps, criterias in your notebook. Okay. Yeah, you guys are going to get the PDF material of GLEM. And this class note which we are going to learn. Okay, this class notes are prepared based on the IRS sites, the publications, and all the different materials. Okay, and the third thing which I'm going to provide you is the summary book, which is a hardbound book which you will receive. Everyone have filled out the Google form on that. You have mentioned the addresses, so I'm going to deliver the summary book at that address. Third thing you are going to get is the MCQ access. I'll share the ID and password. So, you can practice on your own on the rest of the days of the week when we are not having the lecture. Okay. So yeah, that's it for this topic. Let's move to the just one topic I'll take today. The definition of the support, like what all things will included in the support. Okay, let me open. Yeah, in filing status, it's there. Yeah, here it is. So see, qualifying expenditure in case of dependent, we have a different definition with. Yeah, here it is. So see, today you guys will have to read this topic 1.4 page 17. You will have to go through this topic thoroughly. Okay, dependent status is there. There you have a qualifying child. Here you will see all the tests which are mentioned over here. Okay, these are the same which we did today in the class. One thing which I want to check is in case of support test, the definition of support will be provided over here. Just a minute. It's a whole table which is provided. Yeah, here. See, what the support includes? Support includes money and items or amounts spent on items, such as, for example, I want to claim Dia as a dependent. I will be paying for her food, clothing, shelter, utilities. Okay, in utilities, what will come? all the electricity bill of the household I am paying, the water bill of the household I am paying, and she is living in the same household. Okay, so that will be counted as a utilities. So food, clothing, shelter, utilities. Now in food, there is one thing which you need to keep in mind. Let's say me, Dia, and or the two people are living in the house. So there are total 4 members. So while calculating, what I'll do, whatever is the total expense of my food, 1 lakh, for example, is my expense of the food for the whole year. I'll divide it by 4. So 25,000 I have spent for Dia for her food. Okay. If we are living more than 1 member in the house, you will have to divide by the number of members. Okay. If I'm incurring for our medical, dental, and insurance, life insurance, this is not house or any other insurance. This is her own life insurance will be considered for support test. See, this support test explanation is very important because tomorrow when we do the filing status, in that we'll have a different definition for support test. In head of household, there is a different definition of dependent. So please, after the completion of session or maybe in the evening, please note down all those points which we are doing today. Okay. Third one is education. I am paying for our education expense. Okay. Fourth one is childcare or vacation expense. All those expense I will be considering for calculating as a support test. Okay. So in question, how they will provide you all the expenses which is incurring, and they'll provide you how much the taxpayer is spending on those expenses. So you'll have to see whether the taxpayer is spending 50% or more or not. Okay, it has to be more than 50. Yeah? It should not be exact 50. It has to be more than 50. Mark all the words. See, the key to success for EA exams are the small words only. The examiner will trap you in the small things. They will give you exact 50% expenses incurred. So will your answer change? Yes. If you think in your mind, yeah, it's 50%, let's stick, yeah, it's a dependent, it's eligible to take as a dependent. No, it's wrong. You have to check, it has to be more than. Same way in the age criteria, it has to be less than. It should not be equal to the 19 or 24. Okay, so today, see, this qualifying relative is yet to be done. Just go through this qualifying child topic very well on page 1.4. Topic 1.4 on page 17. Okay, I'll share you this PDF in the group. What I can do today, I'll just share that much which you need to study, and the rest whole PDF I'll share on the, because this is a huge PDF, it will not get shared in the WhatsApp. So the whole material I'll share you on your email address. Okay, you have already shared me the email address. So the whole book I'll share on the email. Only what you need to study today, only that part I'll share in the WhatsApp group, so you don't get confused. Okay, so any query or any doubt from the today's session, guys?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am, it's clear.
And
No, ma'am.
yeah, okay, so we'll keep a 1 hour session daily, because see that we will do it perfect and effective. I don't want to complete the course in 2 hours or 3 hour session. We'll just keep it short, sweet, simple, and perfect. Okay, 1 hour session will be there. All those criteria, I'll give you the homework, like you will have to prepare the charts and everything. You can revise on your own, and before starting the next session, we'll just have a quick overview, and then we'll start with the session. Okay, please solve the MCQs. I'll give you the excess. If you solve it on daily basis, that's fine. Yeah, if you solve on daily basis, that will be perfect. And if you're not able to solve on daily basis, then also it's fine. On Saturdays and Sundays, please sit and at least study for 3 to 4 hours. Okay, so that's it for the day. I'll share everything in the group and on the email. So we'll meet tomorrow at same time, 8 a.m. Okay, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.